Hello and welcome. I am Abby Rose and I wanted to take you on a tour with me today to take care of my animals. Particularly what we're going to focus on in this video is what animals we have and why, and maybe a little story time along the way. I have done a homestead tour video before. It was a couple months ago. Things have already changed. We have a shed now back there that we didn't have before, and we have a couple new animals. I did a animal care video also before, but I think in that video I focused a lot more on processes and a lot less on the animals we had and why. So my goal is today is to take you with me and really focus on telling you the reasons why we have the animals that we do. So without further ado, let's get some grain, and first stop is the cow. Oh, here they come. That is our stock dog, Gabby. Is my daddy's dog, actually, and she does a great job bringing everybody up. All right, Gabby, that's enough. Good dog. So there are three of our cows. We still have, those are the three oldest cows, actually. So those are the two mamas. They are both Jersey milk cows. And then the other one is our oldest steer. He will be our food next year. This is Dandy. She is a first-time mama. We're not currently milking, and that's totally on me. I just need to get started with that. We got my father's cows here on the farm this spring, or late last winter, and they did freshen and have calves. We just left the calves on them for this round of freshening. I actually think the next couple days I am going to at least put our oldest milk cow, Seraphim, who's in the back. I'm gonna put her in the pen, and I am gonna try to milk her just a little bit because it seems really wasteful to me not to milk them. Of course, their milk isn't just going to waste. They're feeding their baby calves, and that has made those calves grow so exponentially quickly. I'll show you them here in just a second. Right there in the background, you can see the two calves walking up, and just look how big they are. And I could show you our bull. He's not coming just yet. He actually, the farm that we got him from was purely grass-fed, so he wasn't bucket trained. But when he comes up, you can see just how big our two calves are. They're almost as tall as him, despite him being quite a few months older than them. They are all like, "What are you doing? Feed me," so I better do that. I am feeding them these 16% cubes. They can just be dumped directly on the ground. The biggest reason we're doing that is for the two mama cows, like her, Seraphim. You notice you can see their hips pretty good. This is because she's producing so much milk that her little calf is drinking. And we really want to make sure she does not go into the winter any thinner. So we're giving her a little bit of cubes. This does two things. One, of course, it gives her the nutrition in the cubes, but also it will stimulate her appetite and make her eat more grass. So kind of a twofold benefit to feeding them these cubes. Spook is coming up really slowly. Like I said a second ago, he had not eaten any feed at his previous farm. He was purely grass-fed. For us, we want him to be bucket trained. We want him to come to us and want the food. So I have some really nice sweet feed in here for him, and I'm gonna let him eat that. He's just taking his sweet time. But you better hurry or the other cows will steal his food. I sent Gab to make him hurry up just a little bit. She just gets behind him and pushes him so that he will be convinced, oh, she got distracted by our pigs, which is gonna be our next stop after the cows. Come on, Spook. Jersey bulls are known to be really aggressive bulls. They can be punks, but he has been a really good bull. I'm really happy with him. He's got such a sweet attitude. Sometimes he puts his head down, but as a whole, he's really nice. Okay, come on, Spook. You can see he is definitely getting bucket trained. What's so good about him being bucket trained is now if he gets out ever, I just have to take a bucket and I can get him in just as easily as I've gotten him in this pen now. Which it's his fault. He's gonna have to share feed because he took too long. Everybody else also would rather the sweet feed than the cubes, but at least he got a taste, and he again got confirmation that he does want to come to me when I call, when I have the bucket, that he will get a yummy, tasty treat. The reason we have jerseys is because, well, a few reasons. I mean, a lot of homesteaders do have jerseys, and it is because they have a great temperament, wonderful milk fat percentage, so the cream, you get a lot more cream on the top of the milk for a Jersey than any other breed. And then also, even though they're not a beef cow, they do produce wonderful meat. They have a lot of fat marbling throughout it, and that makes for delicious, delicious meat. And we personally are not the type that are trying to go fat-free with any of our meats. I know that that's something that has been marketed towards people, that, oh, it's healthier to be fat-free. Personally, I just think it's healthier to eat food that is as close to the source as possible. Our next stop is to go down and look at the pigs. We have had these pigs about a month. I actually have so much content in my phone right now showing how we made their pig pen. I'm gonna put that together and post it for you in case you're looking to get your own pigs and you want to think a little bit more about where to put them and things you want to make sure you know to build the fence. So I hopefully will get that out in a couple days. I just have hours of footage, and you don't want to watch pig pen building for hours, so I've got to figure out how to cut it down to just the necessary parts. I am no professional photographer, editor. I am just somebody with a passion for homesteading, so those videos are a little bit harder. A video like this, you know, we can be relaxed, and so it's a little easier. Let's go look at the pigs. So we're walking down here to the pig pen. Now we have this pen, it's kind of in the woods. There's a pond down this little draw here, and that gives them a great place to get cool in the summer. They of course don't need it right now, it's December. We do have some fresh water for them. Of course, with pigs, fresh water does not stay very fresh long. We have an automatic water, but it will not work as long as it can freeze outside. With pigs, if you are going to eat pork or bacon, or ham or any pig meat, they are probably the animal to make sure that you're raising to for your own consumption. Pigs, so unlike cows have two stomachs. They have a rumen. My dad can explain this a lot better. I'm kind of just spouting secondhand information. He has a degree in agriculture. I have a degree in sociology. So I know a little bit less about the particulars. But I have it from a good source, that, you know, cows, they have two stomachs. So they're going to be, what you feed them is not as directly going into their meat. But pigs, they only have one stomach, and what they are fed, antibiotics, medicated food, whatever it is going to go into their meat. So if there is one animal that you would like to have because you are consuming the meats from them, pigs are a great place to start. Now, a few things to think about in keeping them in, you know, making sure they can't root underneath the fence, giving them a comfortable place to stay. But pigs, really, I've never had issue with them getting out. Fun fact, we actually, when I was probably, I think I was 13 or 14, we trapped some wild pigs. So we lived in the Ozark Mountains at that time, and there were bunches of feral pigs running on the hillside. They were tearing up the ground, doing extreme damage to the ecosystem, the environment. They were making it where the hillsides were washing away worse. So anyway, they were definitely needing not to be there. It was not like their native habitat and was not good for the environment. My dad and I trapped, my dad and sisters, but yeah, we trapped a mama pig and her 10 piglets. They were wild pigs, and we had to get rid of the mama because she would have gotten out of the fence. But those 10 piglets, we raised all the way up to adults. They stayed in the pen really well, and it was all because we really made sure to wire down the fence so that it couldn't be pushed up. I will tell you more about pig pen building though in my video that documents it. For now, only thing I have to do is I filled up their water. I gotta go turn it off actually. And then I need to, we have this big feeder here. Originally we were thinking we were going to self-feed, make them eat as much as they wanted, but Dannon has learned through some research that actually it is better for them to only get about 5 pounds of piece a day now that they are over 100 pounds. Otherwise I think it's just wasted. So we are giving, we get 50-pound bags. We have 5 pigs, so we just give a bag every other day. That works itself out to 5 pounds per pig. I'm walking back up the hill to turn the water off, and then I'm gonna come back and make sure they have feed. I'll show you that. Today is the second day since I've given them that feed sack I was talking about. And so the only thing I have to do right now is pushing down the extra food that they had. I'm probably going to start just dumping half a bag in here a day, because what's happening right now is they are eating a lot the first day, and then they don't have quite as much to eat the second day. So I feel like I should talk about the elephant in the room, or at least for me, I think it might be an elephant in the room, and that is eating meat. So we obviously eat meat, and I'm not saying that that's what other people should do. I've been vegan before. I was vegan when I met my now husband. I actually had him vegan for a while. What I found though through that experience is that a lot of the foods that I was using to replace the traditional meat foods, like the Beyond Burger and things like that, had a bunch of processed foods. So they were not natural ingredients. And I know that I could do a lot better if I wanted to with like black beans or things like that, where I actually made the replacement burgers. The biggest reason I had gone vegan was for health. I was worried about what is in meat at the super center, or like the super center. Anyway, but now that I have access to humanely raised, sustainable, healthy meat, I am embracing it, and I'm really thankful that we have it. I'm thankful that all of our animals here on our farm have an amazing life up until the very last day. I think it's really important that stress not be in their meat. And so we are meat eaters. And if you're not, then you just need a garden, and this video is definitely not for you. Stick around for next spring when I do some gardening videos. But if you are a meat eater, then and you're watching this video, you probably really want to grow your own meat. And I could say that it is just so worth it. If you're going to eat meat, if you're going to eat pork, or if you're going to eat any kind of meat from any animal, it really is worth it to grow your own, so you know what's going into it, and you can give the animals a beautiful life up until the end. Our next stop is the bee apiary. I hadn't been checking on the bees every day because, you know, you don't need to feed the bees. They are a pretty self-sustaining organism. They are used to taking care of themselves. However, I hadn't checked on the bees for a few days, and we had a really sad catastrophe where the cows had gotten into the bee apiary and knocked over a hive and scooted some lids off the hives, and then it rained and got them a little wet. So I am now going to start making it part of my daily loop to go over here and just make sure that everything's okay. I actually put up an electric fence so the cows shouldn't get into this bee apiary ever again, but the bees are really valuable. I'm really thankful we have them, and even if they're farther away from the house and they're not something that has clear tasks associated with them at this time of year, I still want to start walking over here and checking on them because I want to make sure that they're doing all right, and if anything looks out of place, I can talk to my dad. He's the bee man. So you can see that electric fence I was talking about. These are the two hives. They are behind on this side of this fence. So for these two hives, we had the sill break where the bees started to fly when we brought them up here from my father's farm. And the problem is wherever those bees land, so we parked the trailer right here, and they started to fly around the next day before we could unload them. That means they already knew where their hive was. They thought it was right here. And now we can't just go and move this hive into the apiary or they won't know where it is. So what we have to do is we're gonna slowly move it a couple feet at a time. And we're really just waiting to do that until we have some time. There's really no reason we haven't done it yet other than just prioritizing other things. Anyway, the fact that they were in the cow's pen is the reasons the cows were able to knock them over. But now that I have this electric fence, they should be fine. Here's a little look at our bee apiary. We have 33 hives right now. Hopefully they all survived the winter. We haven't done as much with them right now because my father was going through cancer and I needed his help to understand what to do. But we had enough hives that even if some do die, we will be able to make splits and take swarms next year. I'm looking forward to including beekeeping in my content, though most of that is just going to be me hanging out with my dad because I don't know a whole lot about it right now. All I know is I'm a little scared of getting stung. He refuses to wear a bee suit because he likes to handle them where he can, like, his hands are free, and he knows that bee stings are actually good for you. I know they're good for you too, but I just don't like getting stung. Like yesterday when we were picking up that hive, I got stung right on the head, and it still kind of hurts and is a knot. I mean, it wasn't terrible, even though when bees get in my hair, I have an absolute panic because I can hear them buzzing and I can't get them out, and that's what happened there. So I think I'm gonna start wearing a hat and veil at least to keep them out of my hair. Anyway, that's all for the bees. Next, we're gonna go look at the Mustangs. Those are our two new horses. They were wild Mustangs, and they weren't here either when I did my previous video. They were still up at my in-laws' farm, but they are here now, and we're gonna go feed them a little bit. Actually, before we go feed the horses, these guys are demanding that they get fed right now, so we're gonna feed them first and go check on their chicken house, and then we'll go feed the ponies. Yeah, beep, 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 beeps. You almost can't tell now which are the chicks. They're getting so big. The mama and her 12 chicks are still alive, and we are so thankful. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised the mama and her 12 chicks are still alive, because as much as we've tried, she will not stop roosting in the chicken house. And the problem with her roosting in the chicken house is I have to remember to come out and close the chicken house door to try to keep predators out, and I don't always remember to do that. Also, even if I close the door, she's not guaranteed protected. We really were hoping that she would teach her chicks to roost in the trees, and she still will probably in the future, but for right now, we are just dealing with them sleeping there. I have been shutting her out. Like last night, I shut her out of the chicken house to try to convince her to sleep in the trees, and I even like pushed her back to the trees multiple times. They ended up just sleeping on the ground last night, which was disappointing, but we are going to probably try again tonight, and we'll see what happens. This mama here hasn't had her chicks as long, and it makes sense that they are still sleeping in the chicken house, so I'm going to feed her in here. I really want the chickens to come in here. I want them to eat these game bird pellets. I have water here, which I'm going to put some apple cider vinegar in. Right now we are not getting very many eggs, so here we just have a couple eggs, and I think this is a common problem. I think a lot of you, it looks like from what I've seen, aren't getting as many eggs either. It's cold. There's not as much, for my chickens in particular, there's not as much protein because they do get a lot of protein from insects, which of course here in zone 6 Southwest Missouri, we've had our hard freezes already, so we do not have very many insects. Also, let me show you this chicken nesting box. So another reason I really want the chicks to stop roosting in this chicken house is you can see they keep pooping in the nesting boxes. They are literally getting it so dirty. So this compared to this nest, which is somewhere a hen will want to lay. I just need to clean the nesting boxes. I know that, but it's kind of disheartening to clean them and then like 2 days later them be totally messy and poopy again. So I'm not super motivated to clean them as much right now with us not getting as many eggs and with those chicks sleeping in the nesting boxes. If I could get the chicks to no longer sleep in the nesting boxes, I would definitely change it again, because if I did that, hopefully we might start getting a few more eggs. But as long as we get a couple eggs a day, we haven't been eating breakfast as much, so it kind of keeps up, but breakfast would be a really good meal to start eating again, so I really need some more eggs. So right now, I think we have probably about 40 chickens. I did barter with my sister and give her 2 hens 8 chicks apiece, so we have a few less. My goal with the chickens is to have so many chickens, I don't know how many I have. The reason why is because I will lose some chickens, whether it be from predators or old age, and I actually don't want to know. I was counting all of my chickens like obsessively every day, counting to see if they were all still alive, and 1, it's really hard to count 40 chickens running around, and 2, it was kind of just disheartening when I realized 1 would die. So I think we're almost to the point where I'm not going to count chickens anymore. Definitely next spring, once we get another 30, 40 chicks, I will not be counting chickens anymore. That's kind of the perk of free range chickens, if you don't have to actually know how many you have. We didn't this year, but it is not uncommon with free range chickens to have a hen and her chicks just show up. Like a hen be sitting somewhere other than the nesting boxes and show up with a bunch of chicks. That is always so enjoyable, and hopefully that happens next year because it's a lot of fun. Right, so we're here with the horses. I'm going to feed them first in a second. These were tamed wild Mustangs, so they are, I think, just 3 or 4 years old. I have their papers inside. I need to actually see their birth dates. They've only been tamed for a few years, so just a couple. They were in the wild for a couple years. but they have been wonderful. They don't have a economic reason. They really are just recreational. We're so thankful that we're able to have that. And they are nice to ride around the edge of our farm, but the way we're farming, we are not riding them to rope cattle or anything like that. So they definitely aren't like needed on our homestead for the traditional like working horse. They're just pleasure. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna halter them both up and then feed them. They are actually they're pretty filled out. They don't really need any food, but we feed them daily to give them love and attention, and so that I can halter them and make sure that they continue to easily be haltered and used to being messed with. They're both haltered up now, and I'm gonna go dump their feed. We're not actually taking them anywhere. I just had trouble one day getting them haltered, and we were like, that's it, you guys are never eating again without getting haltered. Not that I've actually stuck with haltering them every single day, because there are days that I'm in a hurry and I just feed them, but the majority of the time they know that they're not going to eat unless they let me halter them. Right, so they're eating now. I'm actually going to go ahead and go unhalter them because I don't really want them learning to move around too much in their halters, especially Blue. Dannon is teaching Blue how to be ground tied, which just means that if you drop this on the ground, he will eventually treat it the same as being tied to a post. So it is really important that I don't leave him haltered and walking around too much if his lead is on the ground. So I'm going to go ahead and unhalter them and let them finish eating. All right, well, thank you for doing chores with me. Actually, I tell myself I'm not going to use the word chores. That's why I put it in quotation mark in this title, because I always think of chores as something that I don't want to do. And, you know, I don't want that to be my mindset with feeding the animals. I want to actually think about it in terms of wanting to do it. So I try to say animal care instead of chores. Of course, chores just rolls off the lips, especially if you're like me and were raised doing chores twice a day, milking cows and stuff. Chores is definitely the more commonly used phrase. But I think I'm going to avoid it just because, to me, the connotation is chores. I don't want to do them. I actually love my time outside. Right now, Miriam is sleeping, and this has been a wonderful opportunity just to enjoy nature and walk around. I get a lot of satisfaction out of being outside in nature and taking care of the animals, seeing all the cute things we have. I've been dreaming about having a farm again for quite a few years, and so there is a lot to be grateful for every time I go and take care of my animals. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. If you are interested in seeing more of the logistics of like how we water or like how we automate some things, check out my previous chore video. Otherwise, I hope you gleaned some little bit of information or maybe left feeling more excited to get your own animals. Let me know if you have any questions. And until next time.